Welcome to the ABMP Podcast. My name is Darren Buford. I'm the editor-in-chief of Massage and Bodywork Magazine and Senior Director of Communications for ABMP. I'm joined by my co-host, Kristen Coverly, licensed massage therapist and Director of Professional Education for ABMP. Our goal is to connect with luminaries and experts in and around the massage, bodywork, and wellness profession in order to talk about the topics, trends, and techniques that affect our listeners' practices. Our guest today is Ann Williams. Ann is the Director of Education and co-founder of Massage Mastery Online, specializing in digital textbooks for 21st century massage therapists. Ann has been a licensed massage practitioner for 23 years and is a former esthetician, reflexologist, aromatherapist, and spa consultant. She is the former Director of Education for ABMP and is the author of Spa Bodywork and Massage Mastery. Hello, Ann and Kristen.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Welcome. We're so excited for you to be here and excited to talk to you about aromatherapy, which I know is something that you love. And I actually was so excited and had the honor and opportunity to attend a full day workshop on aromatherapy with you, essential oils. It was such a beautiful, wonderful day. And your passion for this subject shone through every pore and in every minute of that day. It was so special. So we're so excited to sort of talk to you about this topic, which so many people are interested in. And I know you just created a presentation called Aromatherapy for This Moment in History. I think we should all do it. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. So tell us a little bit more about that. What inspired you to create that content, to go that route?
Well, right now we are living through an unprecedented time in history. And interestingly, Kristen, I was just thinking about that aromatherapy workshop. It happened in late January of 2020. And literally 3 weeks later, we were all starting to hear about COVID. So this presentation is really about how we keep our nervous system calm and supported, how we keep our anxiety and depression in check while we deal with the craziness that is 2020. And it continues to be kind of ongoing craziness. Like just when we think we have a handle on it, we see those numbers, COVID cases surge. We're all dealing in America with an upcoming election and the political acrimony that our country is facing. And that's along with the general and normal news cycle. So this is just a challenging time, and essential oils can help support us and sort of show us the way forward.
And the presentation describes essential oils that help us improve our mental clarity, focus, and mental productivity. How can essential oils support these functions?
So there are numerous essential oils that are classified as neurostimulants. So these are agents that stimulate the central nervous system. And one of the things I know that I've dealt with is when the news cycle sort of becomes really overwhelming, I find myself checking the news throughout the day. I find myself really distracted, and it's much more difficult to do effortful mental work. So one of the things I like to do is diffuse these really powerful neurostimulants, and I'll give you a few examples in just a moment, with a citrus essential oil, which is uplifting. It's a little more balancing. It's a little bit stimulating, but not too stimulating. And I do that throughout my workday. It helps increase my productivity, allows me to do more effortful mental work, and also helps with all of these memory functions. There's a ton of research out there right now that's really sort of emerging about how essential oils and inhaling essential oils can improve memory, allocation of attention. They're being used for things like Alzheimer's disease and dementia. So there's a lot of power there. And four of my favorites are bay laurel, eucalyptus globulus, rosemary, and thyme. Those are great, strong neurostimulants that you can use in a diffusion. And the other ones that I would blend with that is bergamot. We're going to find throughout our discussion that bergamot is the great neurotransmitter modulator. It's the thing that sort of comes in and helps the brain achieve balance in things like glutamate, in things like serotonin and dopamine levels. So bergamot from Citrus bergamia is a real key to mental wellness.
I get excited just hearing the names of them.
I know.
I want to learn more. Anne knows so much. Her depth of knowledge on each of the things. She's mentioning all these essential oil names. She could talk to you about for 5 hours on each one. And all I want to do is say, tell us more about bay laurel.
Kristen is honest because I made her sit through like 90 minutes on 5 different essential oils. So she's like, oh, believe me, she can talk.
I loved every minute of it. So before we jump into the next official question, can you tell us a little bit more for people who are brand new to the essential oil game and aromatherapy? When you say diffuse, tell us maybe a little bit more about that so everyone's on board.
You can use like an electronic diffuser, an electric diffuser, not electronic, electric diffuser, which you can get like at Target. You can use something really easy that just disperses the aroma into the air. The only thing is you don't want to use heat. The real professional way to go is a nebulizing diffuser that you would purchase from an aromatherapy supplier. And those are around $100, but they're well worth it.
Okay, great. Thank you for that, Tibby. I think that'll be really helpful for a lot of people. So let's talk about the essential oils that sedate the central nervous system. How do these essential oils work and how would people use them?
So the neurosedatives do the opposite of the neurostimulants. They sedate the central nervous system, and they do that in a number of ways. And research is getting very specific about the mechanisms behind aromatherapy and inhalation and olfaction. So one of the things they do is they act directly on GABA receptors. So that means they act like GABA in the brain when they're inhaled. And you know that GABA is the thing that helps with sleep allocation. It's the thing that really helps to take our nervous systems down a notch. So before you go to sleep, your GABA levels get higher. So one of the things that we can do, again, we can use diffusion just in like a living space, or we can create an aroma mist with neurosedative essential oils. So that's 1 ounce of filtered water to 12 to 24 drops of essential oils in a bottle with a mister top. And you always want to mist kind of over your head and shoulders and then inhale. You don't want to treat yourself like a windshield, and you want to keep essential oils out of your eyes. Some of my favorite neurosedatives are German chamomile essential oil. You can use lavender, which is kind of a common neurosedative. I'm trying to think now. I'm like, oh, neroli is a great neurosedative, and so is ylang ylang. Those are lovely, beautiful aromas. Again, you can balance those with a citrus. So maybe 2 drops of the stronger neurosedative, like 2 drops of ylang ylang to 8 drops of bergamot, and that would be great to diffuse in your living room.
Sounds so nice.
I know, I just want that. I want to be able to do that right now, right in this moment.
And you describe a number of essential oils that demonstrate the ability to shift brain chemistry in research. Can you talk a little bit about how these essential oils benefit wellness?
Sure thing. So one of the things that's happening right now, and it's really exciting, is there's so much more research on how essential oils affect olfaction and affect brain chemistry. Now, there haven't been a lot of essential oils that have been researched at this point, but those that have been researched demonstrate some really notable results. For example, they can adjust dopamine levels. So if you have seriously depressed dopamine, or if your dopamine levels are a little unbalanced, there are a number of essential oils that can bring your brain back into dopamine balance or increase suppressed dopamine. And I wrote them down just so that I could make sure that I remembered them off the top of my head. Those that have been tested are bergamot, clary sage, lavender, lemon, melissa, bay laurel, and basil. And those show the ability, again, to significantly increase suppressed dopamine levels or balance dopamine in the brain. And then the other great neurotransmitter that we're all familiar with is serotonin, which is implicated in situations of clinical depression, and anxiety. And essential oils really can, again, either boost, suppress serotonin or balance serotonin, dopamine, and GABA in the brain. And those essential oils, there are 10 of them that have been studied, are Atlas cedar wood, and we again find bergamot, that's the big neurotransmitter balancer, clary sage, lavender, lemon, Roman chamomile, damask rose, sweet orange, and sandalwood. So again, you can use these in multiple ways. You can simply diffuse them in your living or workspace. You can put them into a mist. You can put them into some expeller pressed vegetable oil, like sunflower oil from the health food store. Apply them to your body and then soak in a warm tub. That's a great idea. And you can dilute them down into a pillow mist. So 6 drops of essential oil formula to 1 ounce of oil, very, very light formulation, mist it over your pillow before you go to sleep. You hardly want to detect the smell. If the smell is really soft, these oils will help with your sleep patterns. If the smell is really strong, they're going to disrupt sleep patterns.
Again, I just want it. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, what do I have? What can I buy on the way home today?
Yeah.
So like, to get that prepared for tonight's sleep. That sounds great.
And can you list your top 4 essential oils to support us psychologically while we cope with the stressful times we're experiencing?
Yeah, I can. And the number 1 would be bergamot right now, because as we know, this is really going to support brain chemistry. And bergamot has a lovely spiritual meaning. Its spiritual meaning is paying attention to the beauty in small moments. And we all have lots of small moments that are happening for us right now as we walk to the couch and then to the kitchen and then to our office and then to the restroom and around again. Lavender, which again is a great brain chemistry essential oil. And lavender represents the noble heart. It means really showing up with our good intentions, being kind and compassionate with people, even when our views are different. So it has both a physiological and psychological effect, and also this spiritual intention behind it, which is quite beautiful. Nutmeg is amazing. It's a euphoric essential oil, which means that it contains very small amounts of psychedelic properties. And people go, oh no, like magic mushrooms, but not that strong. Its property, or the component, is myristicin, and it shows up in small levels. But what it does is give you sense of expansion. It gives you a sense of being in your body and in the universe and connected to other people at the same time. So right now, when we're feeling so disconnected because we're separated from our loved ones and from our family and from our colleagues and coworkers, nutmeg really says, expand into those connections. They are still strong despite the fact that we are all separate right now. And probably the last one that I would choose, so I've got bergamot, lavender, and nutmeg. I'm going to choose thyme, because thyme's spiritual meaning is courage for the journey. And thyme goes way back in history to the Crusades, when ladies of the court would sew thyme onto a scarf that would go with a crusader as a talisman against harm, and as a reminder to return soon to home. So I'm hoping that we can all return soon to a home America that we recognize, and that we all sort of are safe on this incredible journey that we're on while we deal with this challenging time in history.
Yeah, there's so much there too. And I love how each of the 4 that you just mentioned have beautiful properties on their own, but then as a collective, the idea of everything that they support and the change that they can bring really does speak to what's happening today. So beautiful. So again, we could talk to you for so much longer. Tell us a little bit more about the content that you cover in this course you just created, Aromatherapy for This Moment in History, and where people can learn more. Where can they find it?
So I really look very specifically, and one of the things that always happens to me is I start talking about the physiological effects of essential oils. They're effects for the body because we're massage therapists. So we're dealing with those effects all the time, like the anti-inflammatory or analgesic essential oils. And I really wanted to stay absolutely focused on the psychological effects of essential oils. So I covered that topic in depth, and it stays pretty scientific. Like, I really am presenting the research and then talking about what's a formulation that we can use and what's a method of application. So it's scientific, but it's also quite practical. And you can watch a copy for free at plantspiritlife.com. And plantspiritlife.com is my passion project website. You can see by the irregularity of my blog posts that I rarely have time to work on it. But when I can, I do, because it truly is my passion project.
I want to thank our guest, Ann Williams, for joining us today. And thank you so much. It's been delightful to connect with you again. And I know our listeners are going to be really excited to take this information home and to purchase some of these products that we talked about today.
Right. Well, great. Thank you so much, Darren and Kristen, for having me. It's always great to reconnect with my ABMP tribe. I love you all so much.
Right back to you. Thank you. And that's wonderful information that every listener and learner is going to take away and be able to apply immediately to their life. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Ann.